And we want to create a team that is like that, where everybody is very passionate about what they do and good at what they're doing, but that everybody is also flexible to travel, to move, to take it with them.
Coming to you live from Merida, Mexico.
Ooh. Hello everyone and welcome to Travelpreneurship, the fifth show, the totally fifth show, number one
In the world.
on how travel and entrepreneurship work hand in hand.
Voila.
Yeah, our goal with this show is to introduce you to the people who have found success while traveling and give you the courage to be bold and live an adventurous life. Please, today is a special day because it's first woman in our show. Yes. So let him
Wow.
introduce you
You
to.
got so excited about that.
Yeah.
My ears are ringing. You were so excited. So today's guest is Isabel Aagaard, the co-founder of LastSwab, the world's first ever reusable cotton swab. In this interview, we cover how Isabel managed to raise over 1 million euros in her Kickstarter campaign, how she collected an email list of over 40,000 emails before product launch, and see where the future of remote work and the planet is going. We hope you enjoy this episode. Okay, and we're live.
Thank you, Isabel, for being in the show. Thank you for your time. I think we can jump in the first question. So, could you tell us about LastSwab and how did you come with this idea? How did you come up with this crazy cotton swap?
Yes, of course. And thank you for having me. We're three designers that actually we've done a lot of different designs throughout the years together and individually. And we have a shared office. We felt like we had to do something different, something that really would benefit our planet. So we started to research on what is really an issue and what could make a huge difference in. And this is where single-use items came up. And we started researching and found out like how big of a problem and how much this is affecting our environment in its production and shipping, and then us just using this once. And on a list of the most, you could say, the heavy contributors to our environment, the cotton swab was actually quite high on the list. And I think in the beginning we thought it was kind of silly because it's such a small item. But it was just with its how people discard it and how it's produced, it's just really not viable. And there was just not a solution right now. We've seen straws, we've seen reusable cups, we've seen a lot of different things. But this was just something that I haven't seen a solution for. So this is where the idea sparked.
Yeah, and to bring it back a little bit, then who was Isabel before the cotton swab? What were you doing? You mentioned you were a designer. Did you always have a passion for environmental change, or was this something new?
I've always had a personal passion. I've always lived and been very eco-aware. And in my design, this is the first time I'm working for this direction. So this is new for me. I've done a lot of different designs. I'm actually a co-designer. So I do things in collaboration with people. And this is really where I have a lot of passion, and this is what I'm good at. And I think a few years before, I did work at hospitals. I did a lot of designing for medical equipment and planning a big hospital that we're building here outside of Copenhagen. So I think I was very much immersed in actually the medical industry, which is a candy shop for a designer. So, but I think this was kind of a new challenge, and I found I'm working now with these two amazing designers, and I think that's really where everything fun happens in your day, is if you really have amazing people around you.
Okay, we read that you raise money to create your company. You raised over than $1 million. How did you do that, and why?
Yes. Well, we've done Kickstarters before, and I think it's a really good platform, of course, to get funded, but most of all to validate your product. You can sit as a designer and create something and just think that you're brilliant and this is amazing and everybody should want to have this. And then when it gets on the market and it's really not, or you haven't looked on it critically enough, or it's a really good validation of your product. And this is why we decided to run a Kickstarter first instead of just launching it. So it was validating, but also so it was of course to fund, but also validate, so that we didn't build a huge production and have all these put too much money in something that we had to.
If I understand correctly, for example, if tomorrow I want to create a new product, the best will be not to put it straight away in the market, but maybe have the approbation and have the validation of other.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of I saw one of YouTube videos where you're near a beach and you're like, I'm gonna have 100 new subscribers.
Oh yeah.
And then you're approaching different people and like confronting them. It's like, it's amazing. It's really great. And this is kind of the same thing. It's like, going to people and being like, do you want this? And then we have all this statistics. So we're like, okay, now we've shown this to 1,000 people and these people really liked it. These didn't really, and it's a really good way of validating, is this something that's going to become,
And it helps you as well to find your audience, to find what person will be interesting for your product.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so building on that note, I've read that you build up an email list of over 40,000 people before you launch.
Yes.
Okay. You have to tell us the secret. How did you build an email list of 40,000 people? Give us the juice.
Hey, hold on a minute, guys. We know you enjoy the interview, but we have a special announcement to say just for our audience.
Yes, a special announcement only for our listeners. If you're interested in learning how to start your own podcast talk show from anywhere in the world, then we've put together a free PDF ebook for you to download on our website at travelpreneurship.com. Now, we spent the last 6, 7, 8 weeks trying to figure out how to record things remotely, how to set up the microphones, how to find TED speakers to interview when you have no audience whatsoever. And we put all our secrets down into a short 30-page PDF ebook, which you can find on our website. And once again, that's travelpreneurship.com. Hope you enjoyed the rest of this episode.
Yes. Okay. Well, the juice is that we did a landing. And this was we call it like a pre-launch. We're going to do it with all our other products because it's a really good way of just, this product has to in itself be something. So we did a landing page and we said sign up and you can get I don't remember, but it was quite a high percentage, maybe 40% off or 30% off something of this product if you sign up, and then we'll email you when we launch it.
Okay.
So what we did, so it was like, there's a really good incentive to actually sign up because you're getting this huge discount, and it's really good for us because then we get like a pile of people that are interested enough in our product that they want to be signed up here. And then we did a lot of marketing on it. So we did mainly Facebook marketing to get traction into this site.
Yeah.
And how long did that take?
1 month, 1.5 months about.
40,000 emails in 1.5 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, 6 weeks. That's that's impressive. Well, it's a big Facebook ad spend though, right? Must have been.
It was, yeah. So it was, and we did it gradually. In the beginning, we were like, wow, okay, we're actually getting a lot of emails per dollar. And then we were thinking, okay, well then let's max it a bit up. Let's really try to build this so that we could see that if we could get funded in a day on Kickstarter, that would make us maybe rank high in all the different design designs that are kind of ish like us on Kickstarter, so we could maybe become part of a newsletter. So we saw a lot of good, what do you call it, good reasons to actually put a lot of money in this pre-marketing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can I just jump in there
Go
real
ahead.
quick before Lisa, because I have a following question to that. So you are almost as methodical and creative with your marketing as you were with creating your product. Would that be correct to say?
Yes.
Yeah, I can see that. How important is that, right, for someone starting a product that might not think this through, and not even necessarily like a reusable swab, but maybe like an information product or something easier to develop. How much thought do you think someone should put into the marketing of it? And should that be after you create the product, or should the marketing be built into the product somehow? What do you think?
I think it's a really good idea if you want to start your own business to know all the different corners. And so that means, yes, of course, marketing, but also infrastructure, also production. There's so many elements that you need to take time out to really understand. We're very fortunate that we're 4 very different designers that are specialized in different areas. Therefore, we together can really do that map. But this is also a learning curve. The next product that we're going to release is going to be that more sharp in all these different fields, not only in the design, but also in the marketing strategy, also in production, also in infrastructure and shipping.
So, okay, that's a magic formula. Find the right ingredient everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah, the team, right? That's probably the main.
Actually, yeah, I would like to jump on that. How big is your team now, and how do you hire your collaborator, your employee?
We're still only we're 3 founders, and we're still 3 founders. We've deliberated a lot on hiring, and we've just we're a team. We really like to be small, and we just work very. We have this word in Danish called hyggelig, that things have to be cozy. It has to be like a really good experience to come to work. So we are still, maybe we'll be a little bit more, but we're still aiming to stay as small as possible. We have 2 part-time employees, one that's doing our customer service, who's sitting at home, and one who's doing our PR in the US. And I think it's a really good collaboration. Everything is talking to each other back and forth, but mostly on email and on calls. Our customer service person she's first of all amazing and just so great at her job. But she also likes to live a lifestyle where she can go hiking in the mountains, she can travel when she wants to, and she can take her work with her. So this is a perfect solution for her too. And we want to create a team that is like that, where everybody is very passionate about what they do and good at what they're doing, but that everybody is also flexible to travel, to move, to take it with them. I went to Norway last week, and then I did our whole campaign photo shoot there. I was there for a wedding, but I just did it on set. So it's all about like figuring out how you can use what you're doing in your private life so that it can mix with your personal or your professional.
Yeah. Oh, I have a lot of follow-up questions to that, but I think I'll start with what I think is the most important one in terms of business. So you said you have how many? 3 people, including yourself, or 4 people, including yourself, as your core team?
We're 3. So
3.
2 and including me. Yeah.
3 including you. And then you mentioned you have a couple of people working part-time. Now, my question to you is, which part of the job do you think is essential to, or the company is essential to keep in-house, and which part can you outsource to someone remotely?
Okay, and this is a really good question, and I don't think we still have some assignments and some things that we haven't figured out if we can automate or if we can get somebody to freelance. I would say everything that you can package. For example, customer service. We have these channels, we talk in this way, we use these phrases, and then slowly that's one of the first things that we outsourced. And I think that was really, really good, also emotional for everybody on the team. But and And I think that, of course, everything that in some way doesn't need too much back and forth designing, for example, I think that would be really hard to outsource because it's such a creative process. And while we're creating our new designs, we want to have them mix really well with our marketing, and it has to make sense with our stores, and everything has to like kind of intertwine. So I think that's very hard to do with not in the core. But yeah, I think if we were not interested in designing, I think everything is possible. So it's all about trying to figure out how you can box them together, or how you can figure a creative solution in how to outsource it. It's just interesting because right now we're actually deliberating this a lot with our new launch coming up. But I would say that social media, for example, is something that we've done half outsourced, half in-house. So that means like I've gotten some pictures taken from somewhere else by a beautiful, talented photographer. And then I've done some, and then I'm doing the text, but I have somebody else doing some articles. So I'm kind of intertwining that. So I'm kind of like sewing everything together, but I'm getting text and pictures from different places. And I have to, before 2020, to have all this outsourced. So I need a person who either can intertwine, or somebody who can do the, like, kind of have the overview and then have the contact to the other freelancers in a way, because I haven't found somebody who can do both content, word, and picture wise.
I see.
But I think there's a solution in some way.
And I see you mentioned that it's important to, from my understanding, if you are outsourcing rather, to have like system and processes in place, right? So like you said, when you outsource the support, you're like, okay, this is the sort of language we use. This is how, yeah. Could you tell me a little bit more about that? I'm just curious to know.
Yes, of course, everything that we in some way have to, it's really important with our little team that someone has really figured out and understood if we just source something that we, for example, SEO, is that what you, is that how you say it?
SEO, yeah.
SEO, Danish thing like that. SEO, it's something that we all like, we knew what it was, but we didn't really know what it was. And that's not something you can just outsource. You can't just be like, make my website more searchable, or like do this better, because it's such a complex process. So it's really important that you sit down and you really figure out, how does it work? How is the most creative way to handle this with your brand? So somebody has to really get into it to be so structured that they say, okay, we need to make 20 articles within the year that has to do with this. And then everything is task-based and this is the best way for us, at least, to work with freelancers.
Yes, so know how to delegate the work when you're not able to do it by yourself.
Exactly, yeah, and be very precise on what you want, because or else it's just like, I would love a logo, it's kind of, it's so hard, and then you come, I don't know, I wanted a blue or round or I don't know, pointy, and the freelancer is like, what do you mean? And
it's like finding the perfect husband. I want it like that, blue eyes, tall.
Exactly.
You need to be precise.
That's how you should be. Yeah.
Exactly. Isabel, you mentioned more than one time customer service. How important is it to make your customer happy? And I will jump as well. Who is your perfect ideal customer?
Okay. It is. I think it's the most important thing, because we wouldn't exist if people wouldn't want our product, and if there is just a little if somebody, typically actually, if somebody writes a negative comment or a negative question, almost every time, if you just answer with your heart open and of course, and I understand, and really listen, and then you have a negative person that actually becomes positive afterwards. So I think it's just so important that you get really good people behind this, and it's an art in itself.
And how do you do that? How do you handle this negative comment and negative experience by those customers?
Well, I think I felt it was very hard. We just in the beginning we just took it, all three of us. So we took a platform each, and we used maybe 4 or 5 hours each on it every day, and it was really draining because we had created it. And when somebody came and had something that was like, it was a hard child. You're like, I know, but we made a decision about this because
I can feel it. Yeah.
So yeah, we were not able to actually, we were able to answer really nice and with a lot of emojis. That just happened because
Thanks emojis.
it's just, it's so much easier than words sometimes. So I think it was really, and then we systemized it. It was a lot of the same questions. So we very quickly had an Excel sheet that everybody had access to, so that we could be very precise and genuine in our questions. But after that period, and we got Camilla, who we have on board now, it's just a huge difference, because she has the talent, and I think that's what you need, and I think that's what any brand would need, is somebody who just really is good at exactly answering people so nicely, because the customer service, or I feel that our quality has gone up like extreme.
I read in an article that after you launched your product, your Kickstarter, you almost had immediately copycats coming up. Initially, it was just with images, and then it was with the actual product. How do you protect yourself from that in, say, your future ventures, and what did you learn from people copying your product?
We learned that it's actually quite common on Kickstarter that this happens, because designers are so vocal in that state, because they do open up what they've made before they have probably got it produced. So we were very surprised. I think my husband actually, because he has also made a company and had similar experiences, and he said to me from day one, please do not don't make it affect you. Because that's actually the worst part of it, is that you keep on, finding them and blocking them on Instagram, and it's a lot of terror on just your energy, and your energy should be improving your product, or running faster, or making more marketing, or doing different things, just creating this sphere, and not being too concerned with all these copycats. So we got it quite distant, and then I think a month into the campaign, we got somebody called Redpoint on it, which is a company that can go in and track the pictures. And then if it's originally our pictures, most of the pictures I was on, so it was really easy to track them. And then they could say, this picture you cannot use because it's from this company, it belongs to us. So, and I think they're at one point, they weekly took down 2,000 sites. So it was like crazy, because they pop up so quickly. So it's amazing company. I think there are a lot of different companies that do the same thing, but that was a really nice way to handle that, because it also, a lot of customers starting buying the products from them, and then they got them and they were bad quality, and then they called us and said, this is bad quality, and we're like, oh, we've not even released ours, so it's not ours, it's just that you think it's LastSwab, but it's not.
Wow.
So we had to tackle it, and then we also were very transparent throughout the whole process on our social media, on Kickstarter, and I think this also made a difference.
Yeah. Where do you produce your product, and how did you find the right place to create this LastSwab?
We've gotten different designs produced for many years, so we know a lot, and we've worked with a lot of different companies. We get them produced in China. They have really good facilities in making elements in plastic. We started actually started up getting them produced here in Denmark. But the mold was just too expensive and we couldn't meet the requirements. And actually the quality in China was just so much higher, which was very surprising. But yeah, so we've chosen the company that we've chosen is actually Canadian based, but is in China, and they have I think just a really good quality. They have really eco-friendly materials that they use. They've been really good at just collaborating with us on what our needs are and our customers. So it's actually been a really amazing process, easier than I thought. But we've chosen them from a huge list of companies that we've gotten examples from, and that we've narrowed it down to them on pure quality, actually.
We are really curious about that. Have you been in China to choose the factory? Did you deal with the people? I mean, did you speak Chinese, or how did you do that?
No, unfortunately, we haven't yet. We so we're looking forward to seeing
Nice.
the factory. Right now, we've done a lot of you talk a lot over WhatsApp, and the different productions. They show the films of the processes, and I feel like the transparency is really good. But we haven't had time to go there yet. But it will be very exciting.
Soon, Isabel.
Soon.
What were some of the obstacles you faced in finding someone to produce your product in China? I mean, like, without even having to meet them, I'm pretty amazed that they're so transparent and that they're sending videos. Like, that's so impressive.
Yeah.
That you can do that today.
It was really hard because you could actually get a really good factory with really good quality, but then it was hard to communicate with them. You asked them about yellow and they answered a fabric, thickness. It was like, it didn't make sense. So it takes time to find the right people, definitely. And we've tried a lot of different companies. So they were also one of the companies that we work with. We had gotten referred from somebody else who'd also made something that was made in PLA. So good references are also a really good way of going if you're starting up a production, I would say, to anybody else. But I would say one of the most difficult things for us was planned obsolescence. Just that it's really hard to find factories that are willing to do something that can really withhold a lot of uses. They're not used to doing. They're used to doing planned obsolescence. They're used to making things that have a 5 years. I think it's that we've gotten this quality, but it's also been really hard to make sure that it can get to this degree, and that's been hard to push our production to make better quality, to make something that will withhold several years, and the maximum amount of years that it can. Yeah.
Interesting. To switch gears a little bit, I'm really curious to also find out what's the startup or business scene like in Copenhagen. I've never been there myself, but could you enlighten us? Is there many businesses come up there? Is it like a sort of a hub? Is it the place to be in Europe?
She will not say no, of course. Come to Copenhagen.
Yeah, I actually, yes, I feel it is, especially in the eco sense. I think there is a lot of amazing sustainable brands that are being created in Copenhagen and also in Aarhus, which is our next biggest city. I think I'm quite surprised actually how big that community is in general. So I think it's I think it is a hub in a sense. There are a lot of open office spaces, and a lot of people want to make their own business here in some way. And it's not because I think they want to become famous, or I think it's because it's fun and it's possible.
Thank you.
Just before our call, you mentioned to us that you've lived in other places and you've traveled in the past a lot. And I want to know, as a young entrepreneur, and as a designer, how important were those experiences for you in making you the entrepreneur and designer that you are today?
Well, I think that as a designer, it's absolutely necessary to travel. It's the way that you really can get influenced by different cultures and different ways of working. I've lived half a year in Mumbai, India, and I think that was one of the most amazing experiences design-wise. I think that has really, my mother even says that I draw differently now. After that experience and just after getting that culture in, I think that has definitely changed me as a designer. I would see as an entrepreneur, it's mostly my family that has affected in how and what kind of entrepreneur I've become. Not so much my traveling, in a sense. I think you get inspired, but it's mostly design-wise and how to marketing, how to design a store in a different way. And that is, of course, also a big part of it. But that's just inspiration in general, which I think emerges from traveling a lot.
So now, Isabel, how big are you planning to scale your business? Because you mentioned that you are planning to launch a new product soon. Yes.
Yes. We are, we're going to scale a lot, but we're going to scale with new products. I think this single-use movement that we have right now is absolutely amazing and necessary for us to make a huge difference. And we've already seen now how a Q-tip or a cotton swab can really change people's habits. So the next...
Could you show us the cotton swab that you have in the camera?
Yes.
Yeah, I would love to see it.
I would love to have it, mon amour.
Yeah. We have to pre-order.
You can see it.
So that's a new product.
So no, this is the Q-tip. This is LastSwab.
Okay.
And this is we have two versions. We have which is this one, which is textured. I don't know how much you can see.
Yeah.
So that it can kind of clean and get something out of your ear. Where the other one is more pointy and soft, and it's for editing makeup and
only for the ladies.
Yes, only for the ladies.
So you know exactly your audience, ladies between 18 to 35 who love makeup. I'm the typical one, you know. You have me, Isabel.
Exactly.
That's cool.
Yeah.
If you will have one piece of advice for a young entrepreneur who likes to create a new product, what would it be?
I would say one of the biggest learnings here with LastSwab was that it's so important to understand what you're making. And that is in every aspect. We talked about it earlier, but understanding marketing, understanding design, understanding the whole business. And sometimes it's going to take you months to learn newsletters, for example. Yeah. But it's just such an important thing to understand and be able to make on your own. You can always outsource it, but in the beginning you have to do everything by yourself, even packing things and shipping. And I think that's the biggest learning in a sense. Yeah.
Because you're in control and you know exactly what kind of product your customer will have, and you have no doubt about you and about your product. So you know exactly how good it will be. and how happy the customer will be. So.
Exactly.
Yeah. I read a quote once. It's something along the lines of don't only outsource things you know how to do yourself. So never really outsource something that you completely don't understand, because then it's out of your control and you don't really have the knowledge to fix it, because you don't even know what's wrong exactly. So I think that's a really golden piece of advice.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But you need to know how to delegate too.
Yeah.
Down the line. That's important.
For sure.
Because you can become specialist in each area, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Great. Well, Isabel, thank you so much for coming on board our show.
Wait, where
Yes.
could we order you new product, Isabel, please?
Yes, before we sign off, tell us where we can find the LastSwab.
I want it for real.
And when is it going live?
Well, we're live for pre-orders. We finished our Indiegogo and Kickstarter campaigns, and we now have on LastSwab.com. And so you can pre-order it here. We are shipping out I think we have around 35,000 backers, and they will all get their cotton swabs from next Wednesday, and then we'll be shop. So that means you can order and get directly to you with few shipping. So that's in process from next week on.
That's
wow,
amazing.
big week. That's amazing.
Maybe we can have a discount.
Okay. Well, so just you broke off a little bit, just to confirm. So you're starting shipment next Wednesday, is that correct? And is it going live for everyone to purchase from next Wednesday as well, or just for the people that have pre-ordered?
You can pre-order now today,
and then it will
yes, and you can, and everything will be shipped from next week onward, and then you will be able to shop, not only pre-order. But it's so close, so put in your order now, or in a week you'll get it in your mailbox very soon.
Brilliant.
That's amazing. I love it, Isabel. So good. We hope Isabel's story inspires you to be bold and live an adventurous life. If you want to know more about travel and entrepreneurship, please consider subscribing.
And once again, if you're interested in learning how to start your own podcast talk show, then head over to travelpreneurship.com to get a free copy of our ebook.
Adios.